Dig it! Welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. We're excited that you've joined us as we have a conversation.
It's time to join the conversation.
All right, here we go. Welcome to another Hardheaded episode. Episode number 162. Tonight we're going to hear what's on Matt's mind. We're going to do the top 3 dog breeds. And
There'll be some debate.
Mr. Chet Sears is going to give us a good word at the end. I am Troy Trussell, your host today. With me, as always, Matt Amos and Chet Sears. What's on your mind, Matt?
Well, I kind of alluded to it maybe a couple weeks ago, but I recently traveled to the Houston area and got to go to a ranch where did some hunting and then took one day where we flew from the ranch to El Paso and did a tour of the Lucchese Boot factory. And at the conclusion of the tour, I was met by one of the boot makers who is going to custom make a set of boots for me.
This is awesome.
All through an organization called Boots for the Brave.
Yeah?
And a buddy of mine had recommended me to this organization, and I've never really done anything outside of Wounded Warrior Outdoors. And so this was a new experience for me because it just so happened that we were at a WWO event, and I looked down and go, dude, those are some really nice boots. Where'd you get those? And he goes, oh man, he told me about it. And I was like,
yeah,
what?
That's pretty cool.
Heck yeah. I was like, shoot, if you let them know and sign me up if there's ever a spot, down the road. And so got to go this year, and they actually let me bring my wife with me.
Oh,
so,
cool. Yeah.
We flew down there and we hunted for a few days. And
y'all do any good?
She shot some pigs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we you were talking about your deer hunting thing where you did the 1, 2, 3 shoot.
Yeah.
Doesn't really work on pigs either. It's extremely hard to time that just right because they turn so dang fast.
Yep.
But she ended up putting a few pigs down and had a lot of fun doing that. There were a few animals on the list that were just it was kind of different because they're like, we want to take the big mature ones,
right,
and let the young ones grow. And so you're shooting trophy animals, and there were some people that shot some really nice deer. And then it was so neat because the lady that owns the ranch is herself a hunter.
Okay.
And she's 81.
Oh wow.
And gets up and hunts, and the deer that she shot I've never seen in person one that big.
Like big rack?
Yes.
But not body because it's Texas.
It actually had a pretty decent sized body for a Texas deer.
Okay.
They've got a really good program down there for protein.
So I'm guessing like if it's a Texas deer, really good body, we're looking at like 200 pounds before you dress it.
It may have even been a little bit more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good sized. It was a stud of a deer, and for this being, not high fence. I mean, of course, it's a huge ranch where they can hold all the deer they want.
Right.
But, it had 23 scorable points and scored over it was over 211.
Wow.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she was it was so funny because 81 years old, and she was so proud that she got this deer, and she just gets around so well. It's pretty amazing to see. But so we spent the week there. I mean, and the ranch was obviously super nice, but taking the tour of this Lucchese factory and the history of Lucchese, and hearing some of the history and the people that they've made boots for. So I got to actually see and I forget what they call them, but they're basically what they mold the boot around when they're making it. But I saw that for Johnny Cash Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, George Bush. I mean, there were
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant. I mean, just
that's cool.
the incredible history of people that these guys have made boots for. And then here I am just.
Yeah. Did you leave your feet down there?
I did. I left a set of feet for them. Matter of fact, thank you for solving the mystery because I completely forgot I left those there and I've been wondering where the heck those feet are at.
You're welcome.
Where did I put those things at?
Yeah.
Lucchese's got them. That's where they're at. And, but here I am, little old me, and they're going to make boots for me and some of the other guys. And so we wrap up that day, and that factory is incredible because they're handmade boots. And so you go through, and we took a tour of each station, kind of like when I came to Johnson Controls and they gave us the tour of JCI. We went through Lucchese and did that exact thing. And there was this one dude that was. I think they call it the bridge, which is the part in between the heel and the forefoot.
Yeah.
But it's that little area, and there's this metal piece that some of these boots have there, and some of them are tacked in with little wooden dowels, and then some of them are nails.
Yeah.
But there was this dude just sitting there, and you could tell that he was a master of his craft, and so the president who was given the tour was like, and this is so-and-so, and, he's been here for 37 years.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, he's been doing that for 37 years. And his son works here, and his son's son works here. And, it's kind of like this whole family of bootmakers, that work at this place. But I don't know why I was so intrigued with that guy. But when I looked at him, I just saw him, and it was just a rhythm.
Yeah.
He just rhythmic the way he was doing everything. And then you look at this dude's arms, and I kid you not, his forearms every bit as big as Rocky Balboa's. I mean, in the movie, like when he was in his prime, like forearms that huge. And then the veins were,
they got you speechless, man.
I'm trying to relate how big they were. Like probably every bit like as wide as this mic stand here. I mean, like sticking out of his arm.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane. Heroin addict's dream, right? But like,
or a blood donor.
Yeah.
The Red Cross loves that.
Nurse's dream right there to stick that. But yeah. So I mean, just super impressed at the level of detail that goes into every set of boots that these guys make. So we leave there, and we've got a little bit of time before we're going to fly back to the ranch, and so they take us to an actual Lucchese outlet, and so we get there, and then they're like, "Hey, all the ladies, go ahead and pick out a set of boots."
Oh, cool!
And so then they let the wives pick out a set of boots, which was just pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Just want to give a shout out to Boots for the Brave, incredible organization. And I've flown privately quite a few times, but I've never been on a jet that has a couch and seats that all spin around to face each other.
Yeah.
With enough room to stand up and a bathroom that you can actually stand up in.
Right.
And that's
cool.
Insane.
Yeah.
So thanks to NetJets, because they're the folks that donated the aircraft, and the host, who was Laura Lee West, she was the host of the trip. It was her ranch that we were at, and she's the one that donated her NetJet hours for us to fly on. And then of course Lucchese and San Rafael Ranch. It was an extremely special week, especially because my wife has never really gotten to go on any of these trips with me.
Well, and some of the trips that you go on, she wouldn't want to go on.
For sure. Yeah.
But that's cool.
But yeah, I mean,
cool.
and
yeah,
she slayed some pigs, and there was a couple that, because every time she shot a pig, she shot one prior pig in Florida with me, and it kind of dropped right there, and then her first pig that she shot at the ranch dropped right there, and then the second and third pig she shot, ran off, and she felt bad, and it's like, well, we didn't want to spend a lot of time looking for them, especially because one of the areas that we hunted was a high fence area.
Yeah.
And a bunch of exotics in there, and they're like, it's getting dark. We're not going in there because there's kudu in there, and you don't know that they're there until they're there, and they're not real nice. And for me, I've never seen a kudu in person. That animal has made my bucket list.
Okay.
That thing is huge.
Bigger than a Nilgai?
Yes. It came out and stood next to these huge feeders and dwarfed the feeders. And I'm like, that's a big freaking animal.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, it's pretty big. So if I had to relate it, I'd say it probably weighs what an elk weighs, but it's just so much stockier.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful animal.
Yeah.
Very impressed by that. And then of course, I've always wanted to shoot a black buck. And so we'd seen those. One of those was on the list. Unfortunately, didn't get a shot at one. And for the most part, I just sat back because I was like, I get to hunt a lot. I'm just going to let her shoot whatever comes out.
Yeah.
And so the last morning, because the night before the morning we flew out was sushi night and, drinks and everybody's just having a good time.
You don't eat sushi?
I don't. But they had some cooked stuff that was
okay,
really good. But I did try the uni.
Uh-huh.
And then I did try.
We're going to win him over before long.
There was another one. I'd never had caviar.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I tried caviar. Caviar I can do.
Yeah.
Uni.
Yeah.
It's still not going to turn me. But there was some really good food that night. But it ended up being a pretty late night. So I was like, well, they went around asking who's going to go hunting in the morning. And I'm like, I'm good. I'll sleep in. I don't think she's going to, she's not a morning person anyway. But lo and behold, I'm still sleeping and she's getting up and she's getting ready. She's heading out to hunt. And, apparently they had their sight on a pretty good deer, but it just didn't pan out. But that would have really sucked for her to shot a bigger buck than I've ever shot.
I would have loved it.
That would have been fantastic.
But we had a pretty good time, and I just wanted to give a shout out to Boots for the Brave Net Jets and Lucchese and San Rafael Ranch for having us. It was an incredible trip, and suggest you guys check it out.
All right.
Thanks for that, Matt. All right, we're going to take a quick break and be back with our top 3 dog breeds.
At Admiral's Pennant, our mission is to offer the latest and refined, high-quality masculine products and services to the modern gentleman, as well as provide him with the tools and products necessary to look, act, and feel confident in his appearance and social interactions. Check it out at admiralspennant.com. Without it, you might as well shave.
All right, we are back, and we are going to dive into our top 3 dog breeds.
There's no debate.
There's going to be debate.
There will be debate. There's always debate.
All right.
Well, not always, but 99.9% of the time. Chet, why don't you go first?
Number 3, Beagle.
Snoopy.
Number 2. What are you shaking your head for?
Beagle?
Beagle.
Okay.
How long has the Beagle breed been around, Matt?
A long time. I know it's been around a long time. I don't remember how long.
Goes back BC. It was already established.
I think most dogs go back BC.
No,
because it's all
not breeds. Not dog breeds.
I'm just saying dogs.
Dogs go back, yes, but the Beagle, the Hound, they documented this when the Romans showed up in England.
Dachshund?
No, the Beagle Hound chasing rabbits, and it's a pack animal. I love them. We raised them when I was a kid. They're extremely active, though. They don't necessarily make the best pets. Like if you want an inside dog, this is not the dog for you. They like to bark, and they need attention and a job to do. But I love them. They're really smart. We had the best dog in the land. Where when we were breeding them, everybody wanted to get some from her litter because she was awesome. But her name was Prissy. She also didn't Prissy. She also didn't hunt with anybody else. So, like, if we wanted to go rabbit hunting, she was what we would call a jump dog. She would be the dog that found the rabbit, and then there'd be other dogs that you would have to, bark and all that stuff. But like if we all went there, we'd get out and go stand down on this, we're going to get on a logging road as soon as she gets on a trail. She would jump into the woods off the road and sit down and turn around and stare at whoever she didn't want to hunt with, which would be anybody but me or my dad. So she'd like look at you and you're like, Troy, go get in the truck. And if you got in the truck and closed the door, then she'd go out and start hunting. And then after that, you can come out, but she's not going to go get started with some stranger, and she's an awesome dog.
That's hilarious.
All right, number 2. And one of the things about them, they're very loyal, and that was how it was demonstrated with us, that she didn't want anybody but us around. Number 2, the Nova Scotia duck tolling retriever. I was this close to getting one of these dogs. It's one of the smaller retriever breeds from up there at Nova Scotia, believe it or not. And duck tolling it's a technique that foxes use as well. They make their prey curious by kind of dancing around and getting some attention and not looking threatening. And so uses that curiosity to bring in. And from the duck toller, they get in the water. And so there's ducks or geese on the water. They'll get in the water and swim around a little bit and kind of get close and back up and get their attention, and will pull the waterfowl to you within gun range is what that's the tolling part. So
nice.
Phenomenal dogs. They're high energy, very, very high energy, and extremely, extremely smart to the point where they're manipulative. Like a lot of research that I was doing when I was looking at getting one was your average dog owner cannot handle one of these pets. Like the forethought you have to put into things, how you train them, what they will do to get what they want from you. Extremely smart dogs, which makes them totally awesome in my opinion. And number 1, the Wirehaired pointing Griffon. This is a pointer retriever. It's been kind of has the moniker of the supreme gun dog. Like there is not a better package of a gun dog that you would want. You can go upland hunt, and it'll point like a perfect pointing dog. And then you go on the water and it's got web feet and will retrieve like a lab. So it's just if you want a gun dog that does everything, especially that you can do in Kansas, the wired hair pointing Griffon is the dog for you. And it goes back as a Dutch guy back in the 1800s that worked this breed in. And it's in my opinion, my wife thinks otherwise, it is gorgeous. It's got this smoke gray wire haired, it's a double coat dog body, but its head's red. So it's just looks stately. Has like the kind of like the mustache and the beard, look like what was that little pretzel dog that you had?
Schnauzer.
A schnauzer. You're like, oh, it looks like a stately dog, like it would be knighted by the queen or something. But it's an athletic dog. It has a build kind of like Paso, our Labradoodle. It's tall, athletic, and just awesome. And maybe one day, I will have one of these dogs. It's hypoallergenic as well. Doesn't shed.
Oh, nice.
And they have a breeder.
That's a plus.
They have a breeder down by
that is a plus
Winfield.
for any upcoming dog after current dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's my 3.
All right, I'll go next. Number 3, miniature schnauzer. Had one for 18 years. But you got to get one that doesn't bark if you're going to have an indoor house dog. And ours barked when the front door bell rang, but that's about it. She didn't go too crazy like those other dogs. Chet knows what I'm talking about. 2, a Labrador retriever.
What color?
I like the chocolate color. Had one at one time. She didn't have her long, but yeah.
I remember that day.
She was a good dog. That day was horrible. She was murdered. Anyway. And then number 1, German Shepherd. I never had one, but the dog I got after I had the lab was a German Shepherd Lab mix, and she was a fantastic dog. Had her for 11 years. She was awesome. So, yeah, those are 3. If I ever got another one, I'd probably get a German Shepherd. Right now we have a Golden Doodle. I would never get another Golden Doodle ever.
Why not?
I don't know. She's not my favorite.
It's all in the name.
It's not the breed per se.
It's the poodle. Like, they're just so needy in a way that's annoying.
Not if you give them attention.
I give it attention.
You're not enough.
Well, that's obvious.
Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah, she gets plenty. There's 7 people in the house, man. She gets plenty of attention.
I don't think she does if she's still bugging you.
Well,
yeah.
Anyway, Matt, what do you got?
Number 3, Border Collie. So my neighbor out of my hunting property has goats, and she's got some Border Collies that do the herding on these goats. And
need attention.
These dogs can freaking work. And you see when they laser in, they get really low and they just have that gaze that stares right through those goats and then just guides them exactly where they want them to go. Super impressive. They're super protective of those herds.
Mm-hmm.
And just watching them work I just like watching dogs work in general, but watching them work like herd animals is amazing. Yeah. I just love watching that. And she does a very good job with her dogs. They're extremely, extremely good dogs. Number 2, Jack Russell. Another extremely smart breed of dog. And they're actually hunting dogs. And
Terrier.
I've been able to hunt with a couple of them. One of my favorite guides ever, his name is Ricky K. He used to work down at Record Buck Ranch, and I think he now works at the Ox Ranch down in Texas. But if you're in the market for a hunt and you're going to a fancy ranch, check him out, book with him because he is freaking amazing. He's from South Africa, so he's got the accent. He's going to call you sport. And I love just hunting with this guy because the conversations that we have are so awesome. But he always had his 2 terriers with him. And so anytime that we got an animal down, he'd let those dogs loose and they'd find it.
Yeah.
If it was dead, they were finding it.
Yeah.
And if it was still running, they'd wear themselves out looking for it and they'd come back and they're just as tired as you are. And you know that animal's gone.
Yeah.
And, but watching those animals again work is pretty darn impressive. And then they can fit in your dang pocket. They're super small.
Right.
One of them rode on the dash of the truck or the Jeep most of the time, just laid up there looking out, waiting for a gunshot. And then as soon as they heard that gunshot, gone.
Yeah.
So pretty impressive dog. Number 1, German Shepherd. Agree on 100%. I've had 1, 2, 3 now. I guess Badger's part German Shepherd, part Malinois. But my first Shepherd, we called her Avi. She ended up being 14 before she passed, and then Bullet was 10. So that's kind of the range. The females are a little smaller, live a little longer. The males tend to be bigger, don't live as long, but extremely loyal dogs. I always love that stance. They've got that one leg cocked back. They always look like they're ready to kill. But
I don't know. I think their back end's a little too small, for my opinion. Like their build, they like sloped in the back.
Yeah.
Like one of those Tesla trucks, the Cyber truck. Like, come on.
Whatever, like
that's
lion.
That's the built for speed. And, it was so funny because
hair.
Now that is a problem because ton of hair and sheds everywhere.
Yeah.
I could probably build another Bullet out of the hair that is still in the house. And it's been like a year. But maybe not a year. But love that breed. Always have ever since I was a kid watching. Ren 1010 was the show back when I was a kid with the German Shepherd, and Canine Cop came out, and always wanted a German Shepherd. Finally got it on my own, and that was the first dog I got was a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
Extremely high strung initially, but they learn very, very quickly and doesn't take long to get them tuned up. I had my first one trained to hit the lights, and she would go turn the lights off for me. And I still had legs at this point. I was just lazy. taught her how to do it. I was like, hey, Abby, hit the lights. And she'd go paw the lights off. But yeah, love the breed. Extremely good dog.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there wasn't too much debate there. So
your number ones are wrong, but that's okay.
I think globally, probably that would be the number one.
It's like a Nazi dog, right? German Shepherd.
They have American bloodlines or German bloodlines. Right. There's all kinds of the American bloodlines.
I thought you were going to go with the
Nazi?
Malinois.
Nazi? Really?
Yeah.
The Malinois, man, the Malinois side of Badger is just so freaking high strung.
Yeah.
They're kind of a almost nervous energy. That's got to be spent, and it's a handful.
Yeah, you need to go out running with it.
It's kind
I'm not going to run with anything, but I let him out to explore, and he just gets it all out because he's got a lot of room to roam. So
yeah.
Border collies have that anxiousness to them.
I'll tell you, like the collie, I had a dude that had a blue heeler, and he was a cattle guy, and that dog saved his life one day. He was separating calves, and this cow didn't want to be separate and knocked him over and was about to do the kneel down with the head in the chest thing, and that heeler got in between the cow and the guy and backed that cow off. And he's like, I would be dead if it wasn't for that dog.
Yep.
I love like you were talking about, the dogs that work animals like that.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's pretty impressive just to watch them naturally be able to do that. Not even trained, just ingrained in their makeup.
Yep. All right, Chet, you got a good word for us?
Dog. But kind of negative connotation here. Proverbs 26:11. Like a dog that returns to its vomit is a fool who repeats his folly. I don't know why, and I've been around dogs for a very long time, but I don't know why they're going to lap that stuff up after they puke it out. But the Bible's telling us that's the same thing that we do if we keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And one of the things, the philosophies my dad raised me by was, I don't care if you make a mistake, son, just don't make the same mistake twice. And that's his way of basically saying this verse, that you're a fool if you keep repeating your folly.
Yep.
And it's like you're eating your own puke. So don't do that. Don't be like a dog in this case. We want to be learn from our mistakes and don't return to the old ways of the sin, if you will, to keep doing it over and over again.
Repent.
That's right.
I like it.
Although I do appreciate the fact the dogs lap that up because it saves
Helps them clean up.
me having to clean it up.
That's so gross.
It is disgusting though.
We're out. On that note, thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.